Hello, and I'm playing rare games that are rarely seen. All this, I was going to say month. It's going to be longer than a month, really. Anyway, today it's a game published by Titus, but made by Rare, sort of. It's actually made by kind of external contractors, I would say. But anyway, it's Monster Max. It's another one of those games that we didn't see in Rare Replay. Hello, Gibbon. How are you doing? Oh, and by the way, happy Pride Month to everybody, which has just started. Yes, everyone on the queer spectrum and all that. Hooray. Yeah. So this is Monster Max. It's an isometric platformer in the style of earlier Ultimate play the game games, such as Night Law and Alien 8. But I'll be talking more about that history and the legacy of those games as we continue in this. What I want to do is... Oh, well, yeah, okay, it does give us the name of the designers up the top right there. John Ritman and Bernie Drummond. These are two guys in the UK who are heavily inspired, or like very creatively inspired by Tim and Chris Stamper's Night Law, and made their own game in a similar style, and that was Head Over Heels, a highly successful game that got ported to many different platforms. Another important name involved in the development of this game, which came out for the Game Boy in 1994, only in European markets, by the way, is David Wise, who's doing all the music that we're going to hear today. So I'll actually turn that up a bit because it looks a bit low on my board down there. And I want you all to hear it because it's lovely. I'm already getting sort of Donkey Kong Country style vibes from this song alone. Yeah, hi Tony, saying this title sure is interesting. And what is Ant Attack? I've labeled... I couldn't actually find Monster Max in the Twitch game picker, so after I'm played about an hour of Monster Max, I'll play Ant Attack, which is an earlier example of the isometric platformer genre game. Should be interesting, but we'll get to that later. For now, let's just start it. So this is Monster Max. We can see him on the left side of my stream layout. That's the cover art. Some kind of strange monster with a skull, with a horn coming out of his head. I think it's a his, yeah. But in game, it looks kind of like, well, there's a tail sticking out, so I would say some kind of humanoid dinosaur with a skull head, like Mumbo Jumbo. But he does also have spikes on the back of his head protruding. Tony wants me to play in Italian. No, I think I'll just stick with English. So let's look at our options here. If I press start, we actually have a full map of the layout of the surrounds, which is really nice and friendly. Not something you would get back in the day, although sometimes they came with printed maps, I think. At least I've seen them archived on World of Spectrum. They might have been fan-made after the fact, or probably printed in magazines now that I think of it. Anyway, we can get our password from here to continue. There's no battery-backed save. Don't know what that means exactly, but we can swap A and B, I think. Yep. Now this is an isometric game, which means if I press left, I walk diagonally up left. If I press down, I walk diagonally down left. It's a quirk of the genre that maybe can take a little bit of getting used to, but it's not too difficult, especially if the game accommodates you with it. Interestingly, I've just played through a modern kind of homage to this kind of game. Hang on, I'll read this first. Reward number 1, safety reigns as Max trains. Learn the skill for later thrill. Okay, I'm not sure what that means, but judging by the cover, Max is some kind of rock musician. Oh, okay, this is like a tutorial zone, and going in here is going to teach me something about the game through this teleporter. Okay, we're in like the playpen it was called. It's like a children's nursery. So I've swapped one of my pairs of shoes for a different pair. What? Okay, maybe I should have read the manual more. But we can definitely push blocks and jump. So what was I just saying? Tony 100% of Night Law in Rare Replay. Had to use a guide. It was an interesting experience. This looks a lot more accessible though. Yeah, indeed. One thing I'd say about this game is that, you know, it's coming in 1994. This is 10 years after the heyday of the genre, and it's learnt its lessons. It's using the improved, like, capabilities of the new hardware here. Well, comparing a Game Boy to a ZX Spectrum, I guess it is more powerful, but I don't know, maybe not by much. I'm not really sure. Item, power spring, collection, touch the spring. Function allows you 10 double height jumps. And the arrow will flash when there's only one left. Alright. So it's teaching us about the different power-ups in the game. I still haven't learnt what the boots do, but we can walk up one tile elevation things. So I wonder if my extra height can get me up here. Not quite. It's not high enough. Oh, but this is... Oh, it's that isometric perspective. It's tricking me. Where is this exactly? It should be about here, right? But I can't reach it. Let's see. So when I have that pick up whatever it is, I'm not sure. I can't jump. I need the boots to jump, but I actually have 2 pairs of boots, it looks like. Sorry, I hit select to try and swap between them, but you know, there's only limited buttons on a Game Boy. I'm not really sure what to do now. Yeah, happy Pride Month to you too, Tony. Gibbon says, I can't believe I didn't know they'd done another Spectrum-style game so late in their development history. Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? And what's even more fascinating is the fact that this is essentially outside people coming in to make this. John Ritman and Bernie Drummond. What was that? There was a bit of a flash there and I don't know why. Oh, okay, I can push those while jumping. That's amazing. Gonna have to reset the room though because I accidentally pushed it too far. Oh, and by the way, I'm using the Gambatte core in RetroArch for Game Boy emulation. I'm not too familiar with this. I would normally play a game like this on my Mac, but for compatibility with later games that I'm playing today, I decided to stream from the Windows PC today. But what I can do in Gambatte is change the palette, which is something I like to do when I'm playing on Mac anyway, with the different emulators I use there, but it's a little bit of a different way of setting it up. Here you got to go into this menu and then cycle through them. So there's a few options. Let's just go with red for now. Red is a key color in the game, judging by the cover artwork. Alright, so we've reset that block tower. Oops. Oops. Alright, I'm gonna start using my rewinds and stuff. I didn't know there would be such an extensive tutorial. Normally these games just drop you into it, which is another thing. Yeah, another interesting thing about this being a kind of latter-day example in the genre, having learnt lessons. And yeah, to cover what? Okay, I've picked up a duck. There you go, Tony. I've found a duck. Stand on top of the duck and press A or B. To crouch, press the button you collected the duck on. Oh, okay. So... Oh, but A and B are doing the same thing. No, they're not. I've got the controller mapped wrong. Dang it. I knew that would be a problem eventually. Let me fix that. So I want that to be A and this to be B. Then I'll actually know what I'm doing. Okay, so yeah, you can hold 2 items and those items give you different abilities. So using the duck, you can duck or crouch. And if you have boots in your A button, you can jump. So as for this, I've picked it up and I'm pressing A and nothing's happening. So it's something that I have yet to divine the purpose of. Tony's happy about the duck. Yeah, so what I started to say earlier was I've been playing a game called Lumo, which was made in 2016 by Gareth Noyce. It's a huge homage to the isometric games of the mid-80s, and that spring's gone, so I can't get it back. Yeah, and one of the funny quirks about that is this controller thing I was talking about earlier, how pressing up moves you diagonally up, that's just how all isometrics have to work. But they do have an option in Lumo to have it mapped directly so down is down, up is up, and then you actually press diagonals to move diagonally. But what they said when they did it was Night Law had it oriented one way, so like up would move you this way, whereas Head Over Heels did it differently, where up would move you this way. So they were flipped from each other by 90 degrees. And when Gareth polled people on Twitter on what he should implement for Lumo, it was a 50-50 split. So he added an option in the menu to say whether you wanted to have it one way or the other, or to have direct control that is diagonally can be diagonally aligned, as well as analog support, which is pretty cool. Okay, so I know what the little screen flashes are there because I'm pretty sure sorry I'm pretty sure it's when the room is slightly too big and it has to scroll a bit, which is not something I'm used to in these sort of single screen games. So I'm just going to leave the playpen via this teleporter. I can't. Great. So I'm stuck in the tutorial room. Great. Gibbon says, I've played Lumo, never finished it. I've been meaning to go back and check for references. Yeah, I finished the game, but I didn't like complete it. There's tons of secrets and stuff to find. As well as mini games to unlock with coins, and I only got to 2 of those. One was a Qbert based one, and one was based on Marble Madness, which is another early isometric game that's interesting in its own way. Okay, what I'm going to do is swap out the duck. I'm going to try a new thing on this. Oh, I was trying to see if I could like pull it, but I can push them into the corner and that's about it. B, I figured it might interact with blocks like this, but it doesn't appear to. I wonder if I can get behind them or something. See, they're arranged like this. I'm not even sure I could make that, even if I was standing on this. And I don't have the spring anymore either. I'm literally stuck in the tutorial room. This is embarrassing. Well, what's these? More blocks to push. Slightly. Okay, I've got one out. Oh boy. Do I have to look up a guide for this? Gosh, alright, I'm gonna do it. Enjoy the music. I wish we had something a bit more interesting. Monster Max guide. Suggestions are welcome. Oh, that's beautiful. Max has pulled out his guitar and is jamming along with the music. Part of the reason this game is so overlooked is because it was never released in America. Titus published it for Rare, and their distribution did not leave Europe, unfortunately. So I'm sure it would get more attention if it was released in America. Oh boy, I'm just finding videos. Well, here's the manual. Oh no, it's just a thread requesting the manual. Oh, this is really frustrating to be so stuck. I wonder, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna reset the game. Oops, what have I done? Quick menu, restart. Gibbon says, I've never been able to do these games without guides. And the Commodore 64 and Spectrum ones that have like day-night cycles and time limits have all that extra insanity going on. Yeah, one of the features Lumo has is a classic mode that is timed and has a life limit and stuff. So I'm not going to go back in the playpen this time. Oh, hello. Use the lift. Alright. Is there any more talking to do? No. That's all you need. Great. I'm sick of this palette, by the way. I was hoping there'd be a bit more variation in the palettes, in that different elements would show up in different colors. Oh, actually, yeah, the flashing lights are a different color there. This one's not bad. I think this is the classic Trans Pride palette that I like to use sometimes. It's one of the Game Boy Color presets, but there's a lot of Super Game Boy ones you can pick too. Oh, that's not bad. Yeah, you get a lot of options here. So also all these ones that I think are sort of custom palettes that have been pre-built into the emulator. So there's about 70 something of those. But anyway, pastel mix we'll stick with for a little bit. All right, so now we're at 3 doors that all say enter, and there's going to be a lot of these, apparently. Okay, in Forest Deep, seek and find, destroy Pahal, binary mind. Oh my gosh, this is elaborate. I read that this game had 600 rooms and was therefore about twice the size of Bernie Drummond and John Ritman's classic Head Over Heels. Oops. Okay, so I've broken through the floor and fallen down into another room. That's happened to me in Lumo as well. Yeah, I never played too many of these isometric games, so checking out Lumo was a good kind of introduction to some of the tropes in it because it's such a homage. But with some user friendliness too. Okay, a star. What's this doing? Lucky Star. Lucky Stars allow you to touch deadly objects once without damage. The number of stars you have is displayed in a box at the top left. So I have 1 star, which gives me a little shield and extra hit. And by the way, this music is great. I'm loving it. Ah, not high enough. How can I fix that? I already have this item. I really should have looked for the manual, shouldn't I? Oops. Okay. So that's interesting. I figured out how this works now. Finally. You stand on top of an object and then press your B button, and it's a bag, and the bag fills up. Lumo actually had a mechanic like this. And then you press B again, and you drop the block. Great. That's really good. I'm glad I figured that out. I will now be able to complete the tutorial if I go back, but I don't need to. I'm not going to. I won't be stuck in that playpen any longer, you hear me? Interesting system, says Gibbon. Ooh, and I've gained an extra life. Yeah, so let's talk about the history of the genre. Oh, okay, you actually have to keep walking on this to stay on it. Otherwise you slip off. Nope, I was wrong. I just did something weird earlier, I guess. The duck! It's back! It's wanting me to take it. So I must. We can only hold 2 at a time. And now we're being introduced in mines. To lay a mine which explodes after a short delay, press button you collected the mines on. Run away quickly! Nice. Okie dokie. It's another deadly floor. But I'll be able to mine those blocks over there. Or is it? I guess not. It's just patterned. Oh, okay. Gibbon says that Alien 8 has a system like that, I think. Lightning. You'll be able to run at double speed. And it's a timed power-up. Cool. Oh, this feels good. Maybe this should have just been the default. Skeletons! case you didn't have a jump, you need to get over those spikes. There's no limit to your mines, luckily. But my speed is almost run out. Oops! That's that double mine thing. Let's destroy with mine, because it hurt me when I ran into it. Alright, we've defeated the boss. And our reward is 30 hashes, plus a bonus for the number of lives we ended with. Okay. So when we went through this little door, so this is a hub. Going through that door took us to a little subworld in which we had a number of lives to complete it. So that's how the game is structured. I get it now. Okay, many dangers are to pass in finding crown of iced acrutine. Okay, ice, huh? This calls for a new palette, I think. Something in blues. There we go. Perfect. Oh, what's this now? Some kind of horrible monster. Okay, so don't touch these. But I can... No, don't stand on them either. I'll try blowing them up. There we go. Oh, it actually hit me. I was standing too close. What is this thing anyway? Jumping beast. Ah, it's coming for me. Now this is a scrolling room. If I reach the edge, the screen will pop up a little bit. Oops. Wonder if I can defeat these. I can, great. Yeah, gonna need the bag. Ow. Oh! That was rude. Whoa! Nope, that wasn't it. Actually need to keep this. Okay, you do have just enough time to hop off the block. And that's how you do that puzzle. Great. Oh, too close to those hazardous blocks. I don't know why they're hurting me, but you just can't touch them. You can't touch this. Okay. Oh yeah, I will have a map, won't I? Ah, but it only shows us places we've been so far. When we're in one of these subworlds. Oh, sword. That looks interesting. Alright, let's talk a little bit about more of the isometric game genre. So, yeah, we talked about how the creators of this game, John Ritman and Bernie Drummond, were known for Head Over Heels, which they produced for Ocean in 1987. Oops. Oh, I should have known. Do those disappearing blocks look any different? I don't think they do. You would just have to restart the room and find out. Okay, to attack enemies, press the button. Simple enough. Great, we can now attack. Doesn't look so impressive. Max not that good at using a sword, I guess. But yeah, this kind of genre that we see here, large character sprites, you know, relatively large explorable worlds that are split into rooms, isometric platforming, puzzle solving, that kind of thing. All of this was kind of pioneered by Tim and Chris Stamper for Ultimate Play the Game in 1984 with Night Law. It's not the first isometric game though, or even the first isometric platform game. But there's these distinctions that you have to make when you're talking about the genre, especially because Night Law is really its own thing that was heavily iterated on and imitated by others. So Gibbon will be quick to point out that Congo Bongo from Sega was an early isometric game. I would call it maybe like an isometric action arcade game. as opposed to the kind of puzzle adventure style that Night Lore popularized. Okay, what's this? A new item, the super spell. To cast one spell to destroy anything, you use button you collected the super spell on. Becomes a magic spell after one use. Okay, I haven't found a magic spell yet, but I've now got the upgraded version, the super spell. I guess I'll test it out. Oh wow, it goes in front of you like a grenade from Ant Attack. We'll get to that later. But I also can't reach this. So the super spell is a black orb, the normal spell's a white orb. This level is quite intricate. Oh no, really? So what's this thing up here? Yeah, I should have known it would hurt me. Let's just leave. Okay. Yeah, Gibbon was saying in chat just what I was getting to. So Zaxxon was a 1982 scrolling shooter. Oh, who made that? I don't remember now, but it's widely regarded as the first isometric game. Although Sandy White, creator of Ant Attack, sort of in a tongue-in-cheek way says on his website that, oh, it's just a normal scrolling shooter that's been shifted a little bit. Not so impressive. Okay, so here we have a remote control robot, which we move with this little joystick, and if we put it there, we'll be able to jump on its head over this dangerous ground. That's cute. Oh, okay. Yeah, as Gibbon says, it depends how you define platformer, because Qbert predates Congo Bongo. Zaxxon was actually the second, but the first to be released outside of Japan, and it was made by the same devs as Congo Bongo. Congo Bongo is in fact running in the Zaxxon engine. So there's some expert witness information there. So yeah, I was going to bring up Qbert, which is of course done on the faces of cubes in isometric style. Aha, we found the crown, the objective of this level. This thing is not gonna leave me alone. Aha, but I snuck around it to grab the crown. Done. Yeah, so I didn't write down when Zaxxon was, but Qbert was 1982 from Gottlieb. Sega, working with Ikegami Tsushinki in the Zaxxon engine, made Congo Bongo in early 1983. And all of these are kind of, well, you know, Zaxxon is a scrolling shooter, but Qbert and Congo Bongo are single-screen action type games. So the beginnings of the isometric, like, adventure genre, and of course Sandy White will say that he didn't know about any of this when he was making it, because things were like kind of isolated and disconnected in those days. So Ant Attack was out in 1983, and I'm going to be playing that later in the stream so we can see how it compares to this style of game. But Ant Attack definitely predates Night Lore. But people say that this kind of genre, this particular adventure of isometric platformer genre, started with Night Lore, with Tim and Chris Stamper of Ultimate played the game in sometime in 1984. We're not sure when. Yeah. All right. Faces, Cruel Jeer, and Twist on Mad Ugel Erase Alchemist. Oh my gosh, is that an anagram or something? Faces Cruel, Jeer and Twist, On Mad Ugel, Erase Alchemist. So this is a mad alchemist who has multiple faces that are mean, and I need to erase this alchemist, is how I interpret that. So we're gonna have a fight on our hands at the end of this. Alright, maybe brown, that looks alright. Or it's a bit more surreal, maybe something in green. Yeah, that looks alright. Let's do it. Okay. So I've made some stairs to climb up over here. Yeah, given clarifying, Zaxxon was early 1982, Qbert was late 1982, Congo Bongo was February of 1983, and later in the year the format really took off. Indeed. So it's kind of parallel developers and teams in different parts of the world working on similar things, I think. Oh, okay. So here we got a kind of funky ghost with sunglasses. The proportions really remind me of the Lego Ghost minifigure that I had as a child. Oh no. Go away, ghost. I think we can exploit the ghost's movement patterns to get around it though. Oops. Oh yeah, okay, a new item. The gold bullion gives credit bonus if you complete the mission. Okay, cool, so we've just picked that up. It's not going to take up a slot. We've also found a trampoline over here, which is what this is. And if I put it in the right place, I'll be able to bounce higher. I didn't avoid the ghost. The ghost killed me. And I also lost my extra shield in the process. Oh, I'm going to need to push it. Ugh, dang it. I'll take the death so I can get a more favorable spot for that trampoline, because the ghost actually started by pushing it out of place. Yeah. See, there's a gap here. We'll be able to move it closer to that door. Oh, Gibbons brought up one I've never heard of. She says, the very first was Treasure Island in 1981. It had a screen that scrolled up continuously as you kept your treasure hunt ahead of the rising tide and followed isometric paths in a bit of a 3D maze. It's actually hard to describe. I suggest folks look up the video. Yeah, I'll do that later. Yeah, look up Treasure Island 1981. That sounds really fascinating. I'm not sure what those blocks over there are for. Maybe the robot can destroy them, because I don't think it's tall enough. It's on a level with that step. But I need, like... Oh, I'll be able to push the block, of course. So if I push the block onto the robot's head and then move it over, it'll be high enough for me. Clever. This is really cool stuff. I was worried about this game a little bit, but they really have made it really user-friendly. It makes me wonder just how accessible those older games are, because my impression is not much, but that might just be my inexperience with them talking. Okay, so we can do crouch jumps like in Halo. And we've got some kind of sushi roll. A power ring protects you against all deadly objects for a short time. So it's invincibility that lasts for a little bit. Whoops. Whoa, okay. What? Well, we don't need it to pass this room, so instead of going through there, I'll check out this room first. Yeah, this is a possibly deadly floor, but we've picked up a map now. It enhances the mapping function to show all the world you're exploring. Beautiful stuff. We can't move that, of course, but it does give us a good view of what's coming up next and what we should be aiming for. Very good stuff. So it looks like that's an optional room, although there's 2 exits here. 3 exits. 4? Okay, so there'll be 2 exits into this room. An upper and a lower level. Okay. It's complex. Oh no, it's getting worse. Alright. That's not too bad. I'll just pop down here and check. That doesn't look useful, except for giving you the bag, which you might need in an upcoming room. So far they've been pretty friendly with giving you what you need in the room that you need it. But as we progress, it might get more difficult and we might need to carry items between rooms that are further apart. So what's this? Oops. Whoa. Straight away, huh? Okay. Given goes on to say that Treasure Hunt... what was it? Treasure Island? Treasure Island. It's sort of Qbert-y actually, but Qbert is like a single screen version with a simplified concept. In Treasure Island, you don't jump up elevations. You either use caves that act as warps to other parts of the screen, or just automatically walk up slight elevations. But you're doing that, defeating enemies and collecting points items thing. Points items. Yeah, okay. That's interesting. So it's a Qbert sort of thing, but a bit more ambitious and predating Qbert. Sometimes with an arcade game though, simplicity is the key to, and accessibility. That's how you get people to notice your game and to give it a go and to come back and try again. It's a difficult balance you have to strike between easy to learn, difficult to master, that kind of thing. Nice. I guess I'll grab the bag since it's here. Oh, I can push the bag. Goodbye, duck. We'll see you again, I hope. Oh, what's this now? The enemies here are very abstract in this game, which is kind of another staple of the genre, really. Ever since things like Jet Set Willy. Oh, okay, we need to go further this way. I'm actually surprised how quickly I adjusted to this isometric movement scheme. Because whenever I needed to do complex things in Lumo, I really struggled with it. But part of that is it's a more complex game. It's got physics simulation, and I think the rooms late in the game get more complicated. Okay, so there's a bit of ice physics going on here. Gibbon says, I'm really not doing it justice. Yeah, I'll check that out later. Oops. Lost another star. Down to 0 stars. Whoops. I really can't tell what that's supposed to be. It looks like a kind of bubblegum dispenser, like a Tom Servo. I've read that... Oh, was it this game? No, I think head over heels, I read that some of the enemies in the game are basically Prince Charles's head on a Dalek body, and that was an example of the kind of weirdo stuff that they put in it. Alright, so I can see the evil alchemist or whatever the guy is down there, but the bomb, when I drop it, appears directly below my feet, so I don't know how I'm gonna... Oh, can I jump and then... No. I can only drop it when I'm standing on the ground. And if I go down there, I die. Can I maybe land on their head? Oops. They're in an odd spot. Oops. I've given away my boots. Let's get them back. Jumping is pretty key to this kind of game. Yeah, something's weird here. I don't know. I'm gonna go to the next room and see if a solution presents itself. Nope, that's locked. This is the door we gotta get through once we beat the mad alchemist. That's not it. Gibbon's gonna send a link. I think the person is doing me damage. Oh, I wonder, can I like push this? Yeah, there we go. Okay, I have to be a little bit quicker about that. But of course I can push a mine. It'll fall down and destroy the guy. But then I've destroyed my own platform somehow. So what if I do it from here? And then go this way. Oops. Oh. Okay. I wish I still had my star. I think this is the best way to do it. I just have to be a bit quicker. So stand here, go, go, go. Hey, made it. Oh no! By jumping over the bag, I actually swapped my boots for the bag, so I can't jump up to the exit door. No! Oh boy, alright. So, we'll push the bag out of the way first. Oh gosh. This is great. I'm enjoying this a lot. Done. And we got extra credit from the bullion. Don't know what the gold does for me. Maybe it's just a score that it's gonna put us on a leaderboard for or something. Response low. What does that mean? Ah, who knows? I cannot interpret the meaning of that. Information. Oh, cool. A rare product. So this will tell us about any of the items that we've picked up. And this screen looks pretty full, so I think we might have seen everything in the game so far, except this orb, which I wasn't able to get on top of that one lift earlier. It's a force field. Total protection. Press the button. You can't move while the field is on. Okay. So that's everything, yeah. Okay. So that means I've cleared out this little hublet area, and I can move on to the next one. A pass costs 70. There we go. So that's the function of the credits. You need to get enough, thank you sir, while doing your objectives to afford the next lift pass. Hub 2. What's the time? Okay, we're doing pretty well. I won't be able to get very far in this game since I'm playing to also show you ant attack. But there's more to talk about. Yeah, okay. So we talked about how Night Law was kind of a revolution. It spawned a lot of, well, it got a lot of interest, it got a lot of ports, and it spawned a lot of imitators, which is maybe a derogatory word, but other people who saw how cool this new gameplay style was and wanted to try and do it themselves. In the Forest of Foe is deep and wide. All-seeing eye is now destroyed. Well, not yet. I guess I have to do that next. Green would have been perfect for this. We're already on dark green. What's this other green? It's gross. Orange is quite yellowy. I think I prefer the Game Boy Color palettes to the SGB ones. Although, no, they're not too bad. Let's just quickly find one that we like. How about that? It's a bit odd. But it's, yeah, it'll do for now. Fairly linear, that's good. Having these huge open worlds to explore I find pretty intimidating, especially with the gameplay style of these isometric games. Because it can take a while to get anywhere. So it's better if you've got one goal to go towards. Right, yeah, so the creation of Night Law, it's an interesting tale. You might have heard it before, but Night Law is part of the Saberman series that started with Saber Wolf. Okay, I actually need a bag here to pick that up and put it there so I can reach that door, but I don't have a bag. See, I can't reach it. Oh, here's one. That's lucky. Not lucky, it's good game design. Yeah, the interesting thing about Night Law is it was the third installment of the Saber Wolf series, but it's the first one that the Stampers made. But they decided to hold it back and not release it first because they were saying, you know, this new kind of 3D style game, which they called Filmation, the Filmation engine, is so, you know, mind-blowing, and people are going to go crazy over it, and then we won't be able to sell out other games that are 2D and might seem more primitive to people. So what we're going to do is release those more primitive games first, people buy them, and then we're going to put out our big revolutionary thing that's going to blow everyone away. And yeah, they actually got all 3 Saber Wolf games out. I noticed that the super spell actually destroyed these damaging blocks. I wonder if I can line it up and get both of them. I can, great, which means I can get into here. But, oh gosh. I want to explore the other one first. I'll be right back, you strange insect-headed creature. I wonder what's in here. Oh, I see. This must just be an alternate way around in case you miss your shot. Yeah, okay. So I see some boots down there, but also nice lightning bolt. Oops. Oh, I wasn't tapping fast enough. Gibbon says, and they were right. Yeah, Nightlore really did blow everyone away. Yes, okay. Yeah, it took me a while to warm up to this game, but I'm really digging it now. I should give Nightlore another chance. Yeah, so Nightlore, 1984. It became the 3rd installment of several... What? Why did it slide away like that? In that case, I'll push it this way. Why does a tree stump slide like that? Doesn't make any sense. Okay, I'll see if I can... Nope. Those projectile spells are so anti-attack grenade. I'll show you later. Okay, oops, no, stop. I need to get on top of this, drop this here, and then try and make this diagonal jump. Oh, I know. Whoa. That's the first time I picked up a spell on its own. If I move this, but I can't push it that way, I was thinking I could stop the sliding of the stump if it's in the right spot. Oh, I know what I can do. Put this here and then push the stump. Yeah, that's a puzzle for ya. Yeah, so... Okay, it's not going further that way, but that's alright, because it's in roughly the right position. Lovely. Now we're going to hop on treetops. Very Donkey Kong Country. By the way, you digging this music? I read on, I think Wikipedia, that David Wise was inspired by his love of 80s rock when creating this soundtrack, which is influences that you can hear in his Donkey Kong Country tracks as well. DKC 1, which he did about half the track list for, and 2, which he did all of. You can feel those influences. And I can feel a similarity here. Especially if you listen to the conversions of his tracks to like the Donkey Kong Land or Donkey Kong Country port to Game Boy Color. Yeah. Let me see. Oh yeah, delaying the release of Nightlore also allowed the samplers to work on a follow-up game, which is the one that Gibbon mentioned earlier, Alien 8, which released also on the ZX Spectrum first. and was, yeah, a similar kind of isometric platformer. So this is a drop down room, I guess, and then we exit through here. I need a way to get over those blocks though, or get around them. I haven't been in here though. Okay, this is a new way to go. Oh, I see. Yeah, we can just make that, and then it breaks. Very rude. Yeah, only 2 games ended up releasing on the Filmation engine from Ultimate, and that was Night Law and Alienate, but they sort of made a follow-up game system which they called Filmation 2. It was a similar isometric style but with different capabilities. So they used this for Gunfight and what was the other one? Nightshade, and they were 1985 releases. Rather than flip screens, they had the ability to do scrolling. Whoops, I forgot I had mines. I thought I had a spell. But here's the eye that we have to destroy. The evil eye. Goodbye. Done. I like this. There's like different things that you have to do in each level. It helps it feel varied, even if it's really just similar exploration and puzzling to get through. But there's that bit of, yeah, like framing to it. Although it, you know, it's a little bit vague on where you're going and why. What's our next objective then? Planet Het, where ancients met. Written secret in Codex Detect. So I need to find a secret codex to decode ancient secrets. And we've been given our force field now. Let's see how it works. It turns us into an egg. Nice. Now, let's experiment. Oh, wow. Very stylish. Well, that's not bad, actually. Nice dark outlines. Yeah. Color's a bit plain, but it'll help keep things clear. So that's a deadly conveyor belt. In egg form, we can pass along it. Right. So I talked about Alienate. I talked about the Filmation 2 engine with Nightshade and Gunfight. They didn't have the ability to jump, but they did have scrolling. That was the trade-off. So they took the form of like free-roaming shoot-'em-up type games. Gunfight, I think, is on Rare Replay. Widely regarded as the what was I going to say, like the bad egg of the collection, like the weakest entry on there. And yeah, Nightshade was a similar thing, but with a sort of medieval fantasy theme or whatever, European history or that kind of thing, like some of their other games were, such as Attic Attack. Okay, that's a nasty, but we can just get around it like that. Yeah, however, so there were other Night Law style games out of Rare, but it was after this sort of acquisition, the original Rare acquisition, in the sort of mid to late 80s, the company and their sort of assets and IPs and stuff were acquired by US Gold. And so that was the stampers selling their company for the first time. It didn't go so well, I guess, for them, because a few years later they returned and they bought back the company. Okay, so I've put a block on an alien's head, or a robot or whatever, but I think that's the wrong move actually. I want to drop it down, don't I? And then pick it up with this. What happens if I destroy the robot? I hope that doesn't lock me out of something. Yeah, so if I pick this up and then move the robot over there, do like I did before, drop the object on the robot head, we should be good to go. So yeah, during the period of Ultimate's ownership under US Gold, they put out a few more games that, you know, given the secrecy of the company and them not really talking about these years, we don't 100% know who did or didn't make the last Saberman game, but I think it's a good bet that US Gold did it to sort of cash in on the popularity of the series and that kind of gameplay without the involvement of the Stampers, who originally made all these games. And that's where Pentagram comes from, the final of the Saberman series in that era, until Rare brought it back for the Game Boy Advance. And I don't have a way to get those mines, do I? Unless I put something else in my bag. Like that, for example. But I'm not sure how I'm going to get that. You can't pull in this game, only push. I wonder if I can put a bag in a bag. No, in fact I swapped the bag for the other bag. It's like a kind of folded up doctor's satchel kind of thing. Oops. Gonna have to be pretty sharp to get... well, I'll just take the hit. I guess you're supposed to use the egg to avoid the damaging floor. Yeah, so what was I saying? So US Gold did this Pentagram game. They also made a couple other ones that were more, maybe a bit more Marble Madness style, but still an isometric kind of platformer thing. Those were Martianoids and Bubbler from 1987. So I've written out a little timeline of kind of the direct legacy of these games, and it starts with Night Law in 1984 by Tim and Chris Stamper. Okay, what's this? We can't make it up there, but we can get to that other room with it. Huh? How am I not lined up with this? What? Alright, I'll try and do something with the bag then. Yeah, so we got Night Law in 1984, Alienate in 1985. Those are both Ultimate joints. It was around this time that Ultimate, you know, the Stampers tried to hire this third party to make a Commodore 64 port of... Okay, that doesn't work. Of Night Law. So Night Law got ported to tons of different platforms, but it didn't have a Commodore port. They were going to contract Shahid Ahmad to do it, but it never happened, unfortunately. Oh, I know what I could do. I can stack these up, can't I? And then jump onto them with the trampoline. Or I won't even need to do that. I will need... No, see, what use is the trampoline if I can push like this and then do this? Anyway, so Shahid Ahmad did a lot of ports and stuff in those days. I guess he was doing this sort of thing for a lot of different companies. So yeah, they were like, okay, Night Law's popular, do us a Commodore port. It didn't eventually come out, unfortunately, but maybe he did work on it, or maybe he just went on and did his own thing, because he created the game Chimera, which is, again, in a very similar style to this. Alright, so I actually need 2 of those. Oops. Tricky. So I'll drop that and then waddle off. Grab this. Yeah, so Chimera in 1985 on the Spectrum and other platforms too is part of this legacy, and he did that for Firebird. So I need to hop up here to not get knocked off, and then... Oh, just missed it. Yes, whoa, tight, very tight. Yeah, okay. And that was followed in 1986 by, well, an interesting case. Oh, here's the codex. Lovely. That's our end of level goal. Yeah, so one of the many ports of Night Lore was to Japan and to the Famicom Disk System. So Jaleco put it out on the MSX, and they also did a Famicom Disk System port. That latter port was really interesting because it has all new level designs. It kind of restructures the game and kind of makes a new thing out of it while keeping the same kind of mechanics. So that's always a fascinating thing. When you have a game that's supposedly a port, has the same name, but it's really a new game, you get a whole new experience out of it. That's really cool. I considered playing that during the stream, actually, but yeah, if you're interested, check out Night Lore and the Famicom Disk System. That was followed in the same year by Pentagram, of course, as I said, on the Spectrum, and also ported to the MSX. Ziegler Wood past Monster and Hut. Switch on rocket to self-destruct. There's a rocket ship inside a forest, which I need to blow up. Can do. I wonder who's giving me all these missions. Oh no, the Playhouse again. No. How about something really gross? Oh, the green and the red always clashes so badly. Okay. Oh, what? This looks familiar. What's this? Huh? Whoa, what? Okay, so those are switches, and by hitting the right ones, I got access to the duck. Yeah, Pentagram is kind of where the story ends for Rare until, well, I guess Saberwolf GBA is kind of isometric crossed with 2D platformer stuff. And you could say the same sort of for Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair, but it's not really the same thing. I would say a better comparison would be the Isometric Palace in Yooka-Laylee, which is what you unlock when you expand the Grand Tome in the Ice World. I don't remember the name of it, sorry. But you go inside the castle and it's a lot like Lumo actually. You're in this 3D game engine, but the camera is locked to isometric and your controls are too. And you're doing these really old school puzzly type things. It's really cool. Okay, so if I hit all these switches, no, I have to hit a specific combination of them. So maybe this one and that one. Well, how am I supposed to... No, I'll try all the permutations, I guess. So I've done that. That? Huh, okay. Well, I randomly stumbled on the answer. Yes. Of course, I said that's where the story ends for Rare, but that is until you get to this. But it's an odd case. You know, it was released by Rare, but it was pretty much made by these two guys who are known for making essentially a competitor to Ultimate's isometric games in Head Over Heels. Okay. I clearly need something to break these blocks to get past. Yeah, I can't just jump into it. And the duck won't help me, will it? Oh. Look at that face. Oh, it's a duck face! I actually turn into a duck while I'm holding this, with a bill and everything. Lovely. So I'm gonna need to find a weapon, I think. Which means backtracking. No! What? I can't go back this way. Which means I can't leave that room, which means... The answer has to be in here somewhere, I guess. Maybe I can jump here. Oops. No, it's definitely directly in front of the door, right? Oh, that's annoying. Am I completely stuck? Well, I'm gonna rewind until I get to a point that I'm before that room. Okay, here I am. Great. Now what was the combination again? But I still need a weapon, so I'm gonna have to backtrack some more. What's the time? I should move on soon anyway. But just to cover the rest of Drummond and Ritman's history, in 1986, the same year that Night Law was being ported to the Disk System, Famicom, and Pentagram was being released by US Gold, Bernie Drummond and John Ritman made a game called Batman for Ocean, released on the ZX Spectrum and other contemporary microcomputers. And it featured an amusingly squat Batman in the same kind of isometric style. They followed it up a year later with their seminal Head Over Heels, which had the twist where you control not one but two characters at once. Head is like a dog and Heels is a cat, and they're essentially just like a head with legs. They're like these really one tile high short characters, and they can stand on each other's heads to reach different things, and they have different abilities and you swap between them. It's pretty cool, with a lot of fun ideas in it and a very large game world. It was extremely popular in the scene, and yeah, it really made a name for them, and that's kind of the reason why I guess Rare came and got them back on board for this, a revisit of this whole genre, you know, a decade later on the Game Boy. And yeah, it turned out with a really interesting and cool game that was a throwback, which had a small release, which is probably why it did poorly commercially, but it reviewed incredibly. This game has really high review scores. What else can I mention? Yeah, one other thing worth mentioning in this conversation is Snake Rattle and Roll, which was released by Rare in 1990 for the NES and Mega Drive, which was another isometric game, but in that sort of Marble Madness scrolling action physics simulation kind of style. Of course, I've played before Sneaky Snakes on stream. That's a follow-up that's just a side-scroller. But yeah. The only other thing that I've got a note about is Melchior's Mansion, which is a modern kind of homage to Spectrum-style isometric platformer games with some of the trappings of the Ultimate era. And that's worth keeping an eye on. It's still in development right now. But I'll bring that up again in a minute, because I think we're going to be finished with Monster Max now, and I think it's really cool. I've had a great time here today. I'm not sure how far I've gotten through the total game, but yeah, this is a really neat little yeah, kind of footnote on the whole isometric era of Ultimate Play the game. So having covered that, then I'll turn down the game volume a bit because I don't know how loud the next one's going to be, but I'm going to be jumping back in time to one of those games that I mentioned earlier, Ant Attack, which predates Night Law, was out on the ZX Spectrum in 1983 before this sort of isometric adventure platformer boom. And what I'm going to do is play a few different versions of that game. So the initial releases for that were on the ZX Spectrum and the Commodore 64, and both of those do have cores in RetroArch, so I'll be able to load those up. I just have to figure out which ones are which. Yeah, this one. So this is what I'm playing first. Ant Attack, run. Well, that's big. Hold on a second. That looks okay. That's what I was expecting, more or less. Yes. Now, not only is this one of the very early examples of isometric adventure platformer games ever, possibly the first in that specific subgenre, it's also one of the very first games that gives you an option of what gender your character is. And notice also that girl is the first option, implying it's the default. I don't know. Sandy White is proud of this fact on his website. Yeah, I'll talk about who made it in a bit, but first let's get it started. Oops, what am I doing? That's it. Welcome to Ant Attack. After a long journey, you see your destination, the high walled city of Antesha. As you stand at the gate, you hear a call of distress, irresistible to a hero like you. You must answer it. Good luck. This sort of lore is expanded on in the manual cassette inlay for the game. But yeah, basically there's giant ants. 2 people came here and one of them has been trapped and the other one has to rescue them. So whichever one you choose, the other one is going to be somewhere in this city to find. The first round is very simple. Your companion is right there. You can see him. There's a sort of strange control scheme to the game, as Spectrum games did. Sometimes there's this odd keyboard setup. My hero, take me away from all this. And at this point, the companion character starts following you around and you lead them to the exit and leave. And that's how a game loop goes. Congratulations. I didn't get menaced by any ants. Well done, but that was easy. Now there's someone else to save. So I mentioned the grenades as well. You would have seen me fumbling with the buttons just then, and one of my buttons, yeah, throws a little projectile that then explodes. I only have 20 of those, which is counting down on the bottom left. The girl and the boy also have their own separate health bars. So once the ants start swarming and biting us, those are going to go down. Oh, we found the man already? Is that him? Yep, that's it. But the game world here, it doesn't change, but the position of the companion character is going to be different. Okay, so the ants are coming. I'm going to try and throw a grenade, but you sort of have 3 different... I think I stunned the ant by exploding a grenade near it, but if you land a more direct hit, you're able to... Oops. Okay. Yeah, you are able to kill them, as well as stunning them if you land on them from a height, if you jump on them. Ah, run away. I'm going to have to retrieve the boy in a minute. But yeah, you can see you can keep getting bitten by the ants like that. Oops. Ah. Yeah, there's a bunch of different buttons. I've mapped some of them to the controller, but not all of them apparently. There's 3 different kind of lengths that you can throw a grenade to try and deal with the ants. But one of the buttons changes your viewpoint, and I've shifted it so that now I don't actually know where I have to go right now. There's 4 different kind of angles that you can adjust the camera to. So everything is still isometric, but you can sort of swap them around. If I try and remember what... Is it enter... space? Oh boy, I've actually shifted the... Why is it... Oh, what's going on? I'm so lost. I don't know what the keys are bound to, but anyway, you can shift between 4 different camera angles. Okay, this is not going well, is it? I think I just wait until the ants get me. Gibbon says in chat, "Oh lordy, very primitive, but still very impressive." Okay, I was eaten alive. Have another go. Let's do it. Ready when you are. Yeah, so also the game features tank controls. So you can rotate your character and then move forwards, which is written in the manual as forwards with an extra E, which Sandy kind of makes fun of on his website. But instead of just nasty fall, yeah, that's one of the messages that can come up. Also in the data of the game is an aeroplane sprite that was not implemented. So they had other plans for the game. I'm not getting up. I don't know why. Okay, I'm up. Let's try and get away from this ant. It's very large. By the way, the bottom right corner, you'll see a scan. That tells you if you're going in the right direction to your companion. It's red because I'm facing away from the boy. We saw him back there. And now we're getting warmer, so it's green. I don't know what's wrong with the camera here. I'm just trying to show you how big this map is. It's a huge map with lots to see in it, in this kind of style inspired by MC Escher, which is hinted at in the name of this world that we're in the game, Ant Escher, combination of ant and Escher. It's simple, but that's what they're going for. There's giant ants here, and it looks a bit Escher-like. So there's one little secret that I want to try and show you in the upper corner, if I can get there without being eaten alive. But there's lots to see as you explore this little world. Okay. Ah! You can change directions while moving, luckily. Oops. Oh no, I accidentally hit the rewind button, which I guess is not supported in this emulator. I wonder if I can just exit out of this, because Fuse has this interface. Oh no. I'll just restart, it's fine. All I want to do is explore a little bit more at the moment. I won't go through all the rounds because it is kind of just more of the same, but yeah, I'll also check out the other ports of the game and what they do to make things a bit different. But yeah, I do want to check out a little bit more of the world. So it's a little hard to control if you're focusing on moving quickly with the tank controls. So I want to show you the pyramid. This is the central pyramid, a stepped pyramid. There's a larger one over here that's shaped a little bit differently and has a kind of gap under it. Okay. Oh, get away. I might chance a grenade later, but I don't know how to throw them a short distance, which is a problem. Oops. See, I turned too far there. Okay, that's it. They're really on the warpath. Okay. There's walls all around that you can't get up. Okay. So what I'm looking for here, I found it now. This is the initials of the developer. C for copyright, SW. So that's Sandy White. He is the guy who is credited for programming or engineering for the game. So he wrote the program and all that. Oh, there's like a graveyard here with some crucifixes. Or, rather grave markers, I guess. So yeah, Sandy White, it's his main accomplishment in the world of gaming, because this was a very popular game at the time and has inspired a lot of people to remake it, and that's what I'm going to be showing in a minute. But yeah, he's got a website online that is, very 90s in style, which is amusing. But yeah, he talks there about the development of the game. There were two main people involved in the game. It was Sandy along with someone who's described in interviews and articles about the development as his close friend, Angela Sutherland. And she was responsible for the graphics in the game and designing the world, apparently. So that's fascinating as well, in that these early days of game development where involvement in the creation side by women was rare. So it's something to celebrate. It is a little odd on Sandy's website that he goes into detail about the person who wrote the blurb for the cassette inlay, the cover artist whose work you can see on the right side of my stream overlay now. But he doesn't really mention Angela at all, which is strange to me. It makes me wonder if they had a falling out or something, but there's no way to know and it's not my business, so it's just a little strange. But they definitely worked closely together on this game and a couple of others. They followed this up directly with a game called Zombie, which is very similar to Ant Attack in style. You are running around a sort of abstract isometric city, but instead of ants, it's zombies, and you lead them around, and you can lead them into sort of traps and things. You can traverse the sort of structures and then make them fall down, and that's how you deal with zombies. And then you have a weapon as well. They also had the feature in that game of a helicopter that can move blocks and thus let you... See, there we go. I've fallen down from a height onto an ant and paralyzed it. And then I might be able to get a grenade off. No, I missed it, but it is possible if you throw a grenade a short distance and then run into it. There it is. I threw it, and I guess it impacted on the ant, and it says, silly, you blew yourself up. So it is possible to damage yourself with your own grenades. Yeah, so in Zombie you could actually affect the game world and change the position of blocks and things, which is an interesting twist on this kind of thing. After this, Sandy White and Angela Sutherland collaborated on Eye of the Mask, which is really fascinating. It's a game that has true 3D graphics on the ZX Spectrum. Very impressive little thing. Oh, you're also able to, if you time it right, throw a grenade at your friend, and you get a little message for that too. I don't know if it's showing me that. Yeah, I don't think so. So I'll try and show you that. Am I lined up? Okay, need to get a bit closer. Bit closer. How could you, after all we've been through? And that's the end of your game because you've destroyed your friend. Yeah, you don't get many credits for Sandy White after this on Moby Games, after, you know, this and Zombie and Eye of the Mask. But Angela Sutherland went on to work on games like Wolverine Adamantium Rage. I don't think it's in the same exact series as the other Sega X-Men games that I talked about on a previous stream, but it was released on the Mega Drive. And she also worked on some Discworld adventure games and Croc. So yeah, very good resume there. All right, so that's the Spectrum version. Impressive enough for the system, but let's see what they could do with a more powerful device. Of course, there was a port to the Commodore 64, very popular machine at the time, and had joystick support. I guess the Spectrum had joystick support too, but this emulator has native joystick support, so it controls a little bit easier, I think. We'll just let this run out. I think it's all good. Yes. Okay. Are you a girl or boy? G, please. If you're giving me the option. Ready when you are. So yeah, very similar, but as with other isometric games, we have direct control over our character. So I'm pressing up right now. I'm pressing right. I'm pressing down. I'm pressing left. So that's how they've set it up for this game. I have... Oh, I don't know what the grenade button is. I've only got the one joystick button apparently, which is jump. But yeah, you can see it's all very similar, but there's better kind of shading on the geometry here instead of all the dots and dithering and stuff. It is done with solid colors, and I'm actually walking on the heads of ants here while getting attacked by them. Okay, now we've gotten away from them a bit. Oops. They're swarming me. This is terrible. I wonder if... I don't know if there's keyboard support here, but... Eaten Alive. Have another go. Yeah, you can see the text is displayed a little bit more naturally here on the Commodore. But it is essentially the same game. But yeah, let's explore this little town a little bit more. See some of Sutherland's work here. Get up! Get up! Okay, we're good. Yeah, I'm not sure how to throw grenades in the Commodore 64 version, unfortunately. But we can still use the terrain to our advantage. Because ants can't jump. Lovely footstep sound. Yeah, if you go to Sandy White's website, one of the features that he has on there is a sort of Java-based emulator in the browser that can play the Spectrum version, and one of the things he says about it is it doesn't support sound, but just imagine that you're hearing little pitter-pattering footsteps and the hissing of ants. Yes, ants hiss. Why do you ask? That kind of thing. Yeah, I got swarmed there. Let's explore the other corner a little bit now. What else did I want to say about Sandy White? Yeah, in the style of old websites of his time, of the time of this website, sandywhite.co.uk, it had a sort of visitors book where people could leave a comment, and eventually he started responding to them. So there's a lot of, like, it's kind of a little mailbag zone on his website. People would ask him things and he would answer. That's where I noticed that one time someone even mentions Angela Sutherland. It's the only time her name comes up on the whole website, and he doesn't even respond to that part of the question. It's just strange. Oh, what's this? Aha. I think the Commodore port was developed by somebody else, because that looks like a QS to me. I didn't check the credits for this port, but yeah, it must have been converted by a third party. Interesting. Somebody at Quicksilver. Oh, Quicksilver. Of course. That's the name of the publisher, which we can see, or you can just see it on the cover art. If you look at the full art, it's there, plain and simple center stage. Or by the way, this game is sometimes known as 3D Ant Attack or Ant Attack. The 3D is clearly, yeah, reference to that revolutionary graphic style. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So one other thing on the letterbag kind of section on the website is people talking about remaking this game, and Sandy responds saying that basically he's okay with it. He's happy for people to remix his work in that way, as long as they aren't profiting off it. So having said that, let's move on. And Ask Gibbon says, interesting that this got remade so much. Indeed, I've found references on that website to like 4 or 5 different modern remakes that were in development at different times. I'm going to show you 3 of them now and see how they try and recreate this this game's formula and the world. They're pretty close remakes, really. So the first one I'm going to show you is actually the most recent, but it is one of those modern games made for an old platform, that old chestnut. I've got them in here somewhere. That's okay. I'll just get there in my file browser. The ZX81. So this is a... Oh, hold on a second. Just got to set it up. Using the emulator ZESARUX. Unable to open ROM file. That's a bummer. Hold on. Something's just gone pretty wrong here. Hold on. I've made a boo-boo. Okay. Should have had this set up beforehand. Sorry. Concentrate. Zesarux. Got it. All right. Let me capture that window. Great. Now you can see everything I can see. How did I load up the thing again? I had this done before. Oh yeah, here it is. Smart load antattack.p. There we go. That is a ZX81. The ZX81 is a microcomputer that was the direct predecessor to the ZX Spectrum and the successor to the ZX80, marketed by Clive Sinclair in the UK, although it was exported to the US by... it started with a T. Tandy, maybe? No. Timex, I think, strangely enough. Now, press any key. If I can locate the any key, then we can proceed. This is a replication in the ZX81's pseudo graphics engine. It didn't really support true graphics, but you could do things with text on it. Yeah, a replication of the cover artwork in the ZX81 interface. So this is a port made in 2013 by a guy who goes by Bob's Stuff, although I think his name is Bob Smith. Oh my god, this is bad. I have got this to work before. Whoops. Okay, cool. There it is. Whew. Copyright, Sandy White, 1983. This version released 2013. Code by Sandy White and Bob Smith. Graphics by Bob Smith. Well, it's right there on this page. I should have just gone to this page. So Bob Smith is this guy who does these kinds of modern... If you go to his itch.io page, there's a bunch of Spectrum and ZX81 games that if you have an emulator like this, Zesarooks, or however you meant to say it, you can download these games and play them. I think most of them are free, but this one certainly is. According to the itch page description, Bob had made a game that was like a play on Pac-Man called One Little Ghost, thus proving that you could make an isometric game work on the ZX81, and thus he was inspired to revisit one of the earliest isometric game on the system, on the Spectrum rather, in Ant Attack, and decided to do a demake of it, essentially, for the ZX81. And so he contacted Sandy White, got access to the source code. They worked together, and Bob did most of the work, but they made this conversion. And Sandy was very impressed with it, saying it's a miracle you've made it work on this ZX81 primitive system. After a long journey, you see your destination. So that's the same text as before. And here we are. Now, I believe that this is set up to use the same keys so that you can see the different lengths of grenade throw, since it actually works in this this interface. But I've forgotten how to actually move. Oh, that's right. So it's this one. This one? No. That's turn. That's jump. Sorry. That's move. Okay. So I've got turn, jump, and move. And the other turn. Okay. So we've got them all. We have all the buttons that we need. I think the instructions are on the itch page description as well. But strangely, it doesn't seem to have loaded any of the level graphics, the level geometry. I wonder if that's an error. Or maybe I'm walking outside of... Yeah, I think I'm outside the map. I rotated the camera at one point, and I don't know how to rotate it back, but we'll just stick with this for now. We're going to work our way back into Ant Asher. There we go. As you can see, Bob has replaced the character graphics with simple head graphics. So we're just heads walking around. The girl has hair sticking up or a ribbon or something. The boy seems to be wearing a cowboy hat. And that's how they're distinguished here. And that's a loop of the game. We've led our friend outside of the city and away from the ants. Congratulations. And yes, there is no sound. That is on... Yeah, there's no sound. Well done, but that was easy. Now there's someone else to save. I don't think the ZX81 had support for single apostrophes, so we've got a double quote mark. Right. Let's see if we can find that copyright notice in the upper left and if it's been changed to reflect Bob Smith's name, as they did with the Quicksilver Commodore 64 port. That's what I'm interested in next. So I thought I was walking a void, but I was just outside the city. Oh boy, okay. Yeah, it's interesting reading about the ZX81 and just how primitive it is. The Spectrum had the capability of 128K of RAM, although I think it was... it's on the page. I don't remember what the original... like RAM capability that the Spectrum game targeted, but it was like, oh, you converted something from X RAM into like 16K of RAM. That's really impressive, was one of the things they said about it. So the SW, it's the original copyright notice in the corner there. Cool stuff. But yeah, this is just what Bob Smith does. Impressive programming tricks to make these complex games that were complex and impressive at the time on the system they were on, and then converting them for an even earlier, more primitive system. I mentioned Melchior's Mansion before as a modern homage game to Ultimate's output in isometric style, being done by BitGlint to be released on just computer platforms, but in looking like it's from the Spectrum. Well, Bob Smith is involved with that project as well, taking the Melchior's Mansion game and actually making it playable on the Spectrum, which wasn't intended at all, because they're making something that uses the capabilities of modern computers to make it like run a little better or whatever. But yeah, he's essentially making a demake for a modern like homage game. So it's this really strange roundabout thing. Okay, Gibbons correcting me on the nature of the Melchior's Mansion project. I knew you would have something to say because you're familiar with the project. I don't know too much about it, but as Gibbons says, Melchior's Mansion is less of an homage and more of an isometric remake of Attic Attack, done with Rare's blessing as far as I know, says Gibbon. So that's awesome. I knew it had some Attic Attack elements to it, but yeah, I guess it's... the fact that it's isometric, I guess, is an homage element. But yeah, Attic Attack had this system where there were 3 playable characters, and it was like kind of a dungeon crawler, maybe. All right, so we've saved the boy for the second time on ZX81, and my wrists are killing me, so we might move on to the next remake. But yeah, just to let you know that Bob Smith is doing a conversion of Melchior's Mansion to the Spectrum 128K. Good stuff. I believe it's in a playable state at this point, but the game has not finished development. Right. So this was 2013, but for a system released in 1981, what we're doing now is jumping through time and space. Oh, can I not quit? Oh, we get a different message. So far, so good. On your feet once more. No time for a coffee break. That's fine. I don't drink coffee, so... Yes, I'm sure. Let's exit. Cool. That was Ant Attack for ZX81. I've got 2 more remakes to show you. In 2000, Tyrone Cartwright commented on Sandy White's visitor guest book on his website, saying, oh, I've done a remake of Ant Attack. It's called Ant Attack PC. It was for DOS. In 2006, he revisited that and ported it to Windows and improved it in different ways. It eventually reached version 0.02. Oh, no, that's the installer. Sorry, I didn't need to do that. Where's it gone? I'm going to have to find where that installed on my system later and try and get rid of it. But I already moved it here, and here it is. Let me capture that window for you. Nope, sorry. Why are they still there? This one. Okay, oof, sorry. 3D Ant Attack PC. So yeah, this was made by Tyrone L. Cartwright, released in 2006, and done with the blessing of Sandy White. Yeah, this follows Tyrone's efforts to... Sorry. Yeah, Tyrone had previously like hacked the original game and found its secrets and found the unused plane graphic and looked at the code and the text messages that you get in there and stuff. And followed it up by making this remake. So we can change the game speed, the gender of each of the characters between two of the genders that exist. You can turn the scanner off if you want to. I'm not sure what the newsreel is. Let's set it to always so we can see it. Game settings. Yeah, here's where you can really dig into a bunch of stuff. Changing the health, number of grenades you have, how many ants you have. You can turn that way up. Friends' brains, original or improved. Let's say improved. Lost friend horizon. Yeah, so how far you get away from your friend before they stop following you, that kind of thing. So everything can be changed. You can even load up new scenarios and world maps, and that's all really cool. Actually, by the way, I might, at this point, oh yeah, okay, I'll load this up. What the heck? Okay, so this is the newsreel filter, I guess. It gives a sepia tone and like, as if you're watching an old film reel. So I don't actually want that all the time. I guess that's something that would appear during instant replays or something. So I'll turn that off. Playback. So this is what it's supposed to look like. There you go. Nice and fresh, shiny new. But while we're here, I thought I might just read from the original cassette inlay, aka the manual, a bit more about the plot of the game. The walled city of Antesha. At the top it says Ant Attack, Soft Solid 3D. Soft Solid was like the kind of brand name for the game engine, the same way that the Stampers coined Filmation for how Night Law looked and worked. The walled city of Antesha has rested for 1,000 years in the midst of the great desert, inhabited by only the deadly ants who have made it their home. The sands have piled up at the walls, but for some reason have never encroached upon the city proper. The city rests dreaming of past glories, solid and unmoving, the signature of a long-dead race. The city washed clean by the sun's rays, the city lost from the world of men for days without number. Then one day, 1 year, 1 hour. Hold on a second. I remember. I set up a Joy2Key profile for this. So the arcane keyboard commands would be mapped to my controller inputs. Ta-da! Cool. Sorry, I'll keep reading the plot now. Then one day, 1 year, 1 hour. He arrived and she arrived. Some say that they are descended from a race of wizards. Some say that they are descended from a race hidden in a green valley at the North Pole. Who can really tell these days? How much do we really know about the world as it was, or as it is, after so long in the cold, dark ages? So there's this real post-apocalyptic implication here. Only Antesha seems to stand inviolate after all this time, teeming with secrets, yet silent. He and she arrived to play their games through the windswept streets. These ants are really fast in this version, aren't they? Play the games through the windswept streets, ousting the ants from their exclusive occupation. He and she are now wreaking havoc through the ants, who for their part kill and kill again without thought or consideration, just carrying out a biological imperative. He and she run to and fro, climbing in and out of the buildings, the sound of their feet stretching from block to block. They laugh and cry out in fear, walking with each other just ahead of the ants and death. Oh, water. This is, I think, something that was new for this port. Adding water to certain areas. Yes, they laugh and cry out in fear, walking with each other just ahead of the ants and death. And above all the drama within its walls, the city of Antesha watches and watches, waiting for the next renaissance and the next golden age. The city seems to have a presence, a huge brooding entity which hangs over the buildings and which in some mysterious way controls the destiny of those below. So it's all very, yes, enigmatic and portentous Yes. Gotcha. Take that, you jerks. Ha 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 ha. Oh no, they're respawning. Rude. They appear to be barefoot as well. That's odd. So I'm thinking now about later I'll come to draw this player character in my own pixel art style. And I always have to wonder how I'm going to do that. The official art only shows the ant looming over the city, of course, which is alluded to in the manual there. But since Sandy's blessing was given to Tyrone to make this, I wonder if I should use the colors here as a guide for when I'm drawing them, or whether I should do them in the black and white style they were in originally, which might be a striking look. But we'll see another remake and another attempt at modernizing the character designs a bit later. For now, let's do a few little successes here, shall we? Hey, come back. What are you doing? Let's go. Congrats. I'm going to turn up the game volume a little bit because we've only got the little jingles and stuff, but it is a little quiet. Okay, so I've confirmed that the SW remains as it was originally. I think the remake authors always have so much respect for Sandy and his creation that they're unwilling to change that that mark, denoting that it really is his property, you know, which is fair enough. It appears that the Commodore 64 change was really an outlier. So I'm keeping an eye on my scanner down here, and it seems to be going green when I'm walking. Oh boy, too many ants. Stop, please. Good shot. When I'm walking this way. So we might want to continue this way. It looks like they've altered the positioning. Yeah, here we go. I don't think it would be randomly generated where the companion would show up. Maybe they've just changed the order, but I noticed that the second position in the ZX81 port was also different to what I saw in the Spectrum original. Yeah, and we're getting those messages as well, so there's different ones that appear. I love that little footstep sound. I hope you can hear it well enough. Oh, that's right. I have actually mapped long, short, and medium to my controller buttons, which is nice. Oh, there you go. You can just see them poking out there. My hero. Okay. Oh no. How rude. Oops. That can happen. What's the time? Yeah, let's play around a bit. How do I leave? Yep, okay. So I showed before one of the things you can do is increase the number of ants or decrease, but I wonder just how high this goes. It goes pretty high. Let's see what things are like with 35 ants. So we don't have to go far to find our friend, but let's explore a little bit. Yeah, here they come. Yeah, you'll notice as well that Tyrone here has coloured some of the geometry, so it looks like a little garden over here. We got trees and a little hedge or something, which is nice. As well as adding water. So that was one of the little experiments that he was doing with adding textures to the different blocks around to change the implication of what they are. Didn't get very far, unfortunately. Like I said, this game is at version 0.02, and that's the kind of final one that we ever saw. Tyrone's website now is gone as well. You have to find it in the Internet Archive, but I'll drop a link for that below, so you'll be able to easily download this version of the game that I'm playing. The Windows version is also a little bit advanced from what the DOS one in 2000 was, but it's essentially the same remake, just worked on a little bit more. So yeah, you can see how increasing the number of ants makes things a lot more chaotic. But it lets us do some sick combos, blowing up many ants at once, which is sad. Do the ants really deserve that? Sure, they're giant and they want to eat you. But why are they doing it? It's just inscrutable, really. I may be biased. One of my childhood nicknames was Ant. So I do identify with the ants. But unfortunately, you can't play as them in this game. Right, so great, lovely sound effect there for being eaten alive. One thing I want to check out is the other game worlds. So I'll load scenario, and I would guess Ant Attack is the default one, but there's an extra one in the files for this remake called Mini City. So I'll see what that does when I load that up. After a long journey, you see a destination. Somehow look bigger in the brochure. Oh well, you shrug and get on with it. Oh boy, what the heck? Oh, okay, I see. So it's just displaying the same thing a few different times on screen. But essentially what we've got here is a tiny little mini challenge. And that was it. Oh, I didn't read that. That might have been different. I guess this is just a proof of concept for creating new game worlds that you could then implement if you wanted to make your own. I don't know if there was an editor. I don't think there's an editor included in this release, but maybe there were plans. Are you brave enough to try again? Don't waste too much time thinking. Yeah, maybe there were plans to make that accessible later on in development for the remake. Or for Tyrone to just make new maps to distribute. But yeah, cool idea. But what we've got here is only, yeah, a very small example of that. So if that's that, then yeah, Ant Attack would be the default one, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. And you get a different message at the start. So we've explored this city pretty thoroughly now. I think we feel like we have a good idea of what it looks like. We know the layout. So let's challenge that. The final remake of Ant Attack that I want to show you today was also done in 2006, or at least this version. It's known as 3D Ant Attack, which again is sort of one of the names that the original was more or less known as, but the 3D really comes into play in this one. Sorry, I just have to change the window capture. No, what? Did that work? Hold on. Nope, wrong one. Something's gone wrong here too. Yeah, so the app has actually captured my mouse input, so I actually need to quit it. So that I can select the right thing over here, but I can only do that during startup apparently, so just... no, stop! Window capture. This one. Yes. No! Yes! Okay, woof, sorry. And I'll just quit again to show you the startup sequence. So, Ant Attack. The third fan remake, and the only other one that I could find. I think there were more in development. There was one called Ant Attack 2000, and maybe another one that was there's evidence of in the guest book. But so this is the same message that we were getting in the other ports as well. But yeah, a lot of them are gone. They maybe were never publicly available. And this one is also gone, but is again accessible in the Internet Archive. So yeah, I was trying to fix that, Given. Sorry. There were some technical issues, but we're all good now. This is a true 3D remake of Ants Attack done by Andrew Nixon, also known as Uncle, or by the studio name, I guess, that he was working under, Urban Interactive Software, which, you know, might just be him. But yeah, not much information about this one out there, just that it's a homage to the original, and has the implicit blessing of Sandy White being a fan work based on his game. So we do actually need to change the instructions change the options every time we launch this. So there's a lot of keys here. You can turn shadows off, first person view, and oh, okay, yep. So we'll experiment with the function buttons, and yep, etc., etc. Okay, cool. So what I need to do is, let's check out the credits while we're here. Yes, because we didn't have in-game credits for any of the other versions, so here's some acknowledgement for Sandy White and Angela Sutherland. Oh, okay, original remake idea by Modesty B Cat. Don't know who that is. Remake design and coder by Andrew Nixon, aka Uncle. I know this font is actually pretty hard to read, so I'm gonna read these out. 3D models by Psionic and Cubic Studios. Special thanks for support to Carolyn Wood, Stu Collier, Retro Remakes, and Tyriad 2097, and some beta testers there. Retro Remakes is a website that I believe this was hosted on at one point. Probably should check there if it's still up there. Additional code and routines by Mike Dugan. Given saying, sigh, the things I do for fandom. Doing some obscure work to track down Getsu Fumaden Easter eggs for the wiki. She's currently downloading Goemon 2 for NES to verify a Getsu Fumaden Easter egg report in a part of level 5 that no YouTube videos visit. Good luck! Have fun. Right, so we do need to change the graphics. So yeah, we have different color scheme options, which is nice. Z Expression, Commodore 64, Desert, Storm, Midnight, Ice, or Random. I'll put it on Random and we'll get a nice selection. Default cam, follow cam, hero, sex, or we would say these days gender. The boy was the default here, unlike the original game, I'll point out. So we'll pick girl. Free movement, yes, or classic, locked to the grid, and isometric, I assume. Shadows all on, ants can also be changed, much like in Tyrone's remake, Tyrone Cartwright's. What else can we change? Yep, that's fine. Resolution and window. That actually stayed in between launches of the game. Controllers. Joystick. So that's all good. Let's get into it. Right. Oh, that's really... No, I don't like that color scheme. Can I change that? Well, it is random. Oh, it's the same. How do I... Let me see. Okay, yeah, so that's a button that cycles through the isometric viewpoints in the upper corner, much like the original game's main viewpoint. So that's cool, but our chief method of interacting with the game, of course, is the 3D screen here. Yeah, I don't really like that color scheme at all. Why don't we just go through them one by one then? Nope, sorry, wrong one. Game options, yeah, color scheme, spectrum. Play. Okay, so yeah, black and white, pretty simple, but easy to view. Yeah, you can see it's all 3D modeled. Everything is laid out as it was in the original. Bitten. But you can actually get quite ahead of steam running and build up a lot of speed, enough to easily outrun the ants, actually. So I appreciate that a lot. Just checking the initials over here. Again, we've got copyright SW, as these ports seem to be in the habit of doing, which is good. Now, it looks like my character model is fairly tall. I wonder if I can still fit under the one block gaps in some of this architecture. I'll just try with this one over here. I can. My head just clips through, but that's fine. Let's visit the garden that we found in the Cartwright remake. Should be over here. I might have passed it, I think. You just run so fast in this version. And you turn so easily. I really like the controls here. But the atmosphere is still true to the original with only footsteps and ant noises. And yeah, quite a bleak landscape. With some added vocalizations, of course. But yeah, what do you think about this character design? It's a bit odd, isn't it? Here's the garden that had trees added to it in the other remake. I'll show you what the boy's character design looks like as well. But I wonder, I think I can zoom in. Here he is. He doesn't have midriff and arms showing. Okay. But this is, yeah, typical male and female character design in, like, mainstream media and video games and stuff. The woman always has to show more skin, don't they? Maybe we should try throwing some grenades. Nope, I'm dead. Eaten alive. Okay, we'll try that other color scheme now. Yeah, I find this remake pretty amusing. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? Those solid colors that I liked so much on the Commodore 64 also look quite good here. So I'll try some of the other function keys that change viewpoints. First person mode. Oh, you could do this in VR, couldn't you? Look at this. It's a good view of the landscape like this. Oh, am I crazy, or was I reading about someone wanting to do a VR remake of this? Somebody go read everything on Sandy White's webpage and tell me otherwise. Look at that guy. So serious. Okay, F3, F4, F5. Haha! Classic style. So you still move in the same way. I guess it is tank controls now that I think of it. Oh, that's not good. Flashing light warning, sorry about that. Some heavily blinking colors. Okay, it's over now. Okay, so yeah. That's a cute viewpoint, and I can change to other ones as well, much like in the original game that I never really figured out. But yeah, we've got those options. And what's this one? Reflections. Everything is now reflected. Okay. Whoa, wireframes. Beautiful. I want to go back into the usual view for this. Oh, that's really disorienting, actually. How strange. Let's change that. Nope. That tells me how many tries there are. I do like the reflections, actually. Yeah, I was trying to... I guess you only really get a close-up of your character during that little cutscene at the end, but then there's all the flashing colors that are potentially problematic. I just wanted to have a better look at the character design here. She appears to be wearing some kind of like bolero mini jacket with like a white tube top underneath. But I like the short black cut. That's nice. The haircut, I mean. Anyway, we're supposed to be looking for the boy. Keep an eye on the scanner. Ah, ants. I should experiment more with grenades. They work a little bit differently in this version. You hold down the button and that gives you more distance. You've paralyzed an ant. Lovely. So scanner tells me I should be heading this way. No? This way? Oh, it even leaves a scorch mark behind. No, stop. I wonder if I could still fall on an ant from above to paralyze it. Let's try it out. Oh, I think I just spotted the man. But yeah, as I was saying, you can hold down the button and it'll throw the grenade further. So it's still got different distances throwing, but with a more modern kind of control scheme. Right, I'm going to drop on this ant. It wasn't far enough, but I'm actually safe. No, I'm not safe. Ah! Okay. We do get a health refill between rounds. Ah! Stop it. Just drop a grenade. That works. Drop it and then run away from it. Now let's see if this still works. How could you, after everything we have been through? So yes, you can still destroy your partner. Okay, so it was... I think desert is in keeping with the lore of the game. So we'll see what that looks like. That's awful. I'm sorry. I think Commodore 64 is still my favorite color scheme for this game. So what's the time? Oh, okay. We're about at the time when I usually wrap up a stream. But I'll do a couple more rounds in Commodore mode, and yeah, we'll close it out soon. But I hope you have learned a little bit something about the legacy of isometric platformers now. Seen some of these lesser known entries in the genre from Rare and, you know, Ritman and Drummond, who are both involved with and you know, highly successful in that early boom of the genre in the 80s. As well as the sort of, yeah, the things that preceded them, but maybe didn't make quite as big of a splash. I think, given the number of remakes and things, Ant Attack's legacy has endured pretty well, but I don't think it's very well known, unless you were around at the time, possibly. I'd never heard of it, certainly. But yeah, the different things that these remakes are doing are pretty interesting. By changing it into this fully 3D kind of style, it's very different from what it originally was, but some of the appeal of it is still there. I also saw a description of Ant Attack as an early survival horror game, which kind of fits. You have limited resources, you have this implacable enemy that's swarming at you. And you have to use the tools at your disposal to get around them. But the honor of very earliest survival horror game apparently goes to 3D Monster Maze, which I think was also... Oh, it might have been on the ZX81 or the Spectrum. I don't remember which. Yeah. But yeah, all credit to Sandy White and Angela Sutherland for preempting the genre that would be so popular with other games on the systems that they were working on developing for. And yeah, maybe I'll play some more isometric games in future, now that I've gotten a little bit of a hang of it. By the way, I did talk about during the Grunty's Revenge stream how that in its own way is a kind of return to the isometric platformer style that they had going on the Spectrum. And it is much more complex, of course, but yeah, it's really interesting how the limitations of later platforms led them to return to that style. Are you brave enough to try again? Don't waste too much time thinking. I wonder how many rounds there are, really. Yeah, one thing I wanted to say about Grunty's Revenge Mobile was that after the stream, I found some videos online of full playthroughs, shorter ones than the 55-minute one that I mentioned during the video. I think one got to about 30-something minutes to do 100% clear of the game. And yes, they were not missing 2 notes at the end. They got everything. But yeah, I discovered the the mistakes that I'd made. There was an extra area in Freezing Furnace to the north. You could just walk up off the screen and you'd be in a new zone that was like an ice cave. To get on top of the boxes and barrels inside of the Spiller's Harbour interior, you had to walk behind a stack of boxes, and there was sort of a hidden lower platform that you could jump on behind the boxes. So that was the sort of trickery of the isometric camera system, hiding something from you that you'd have to figure out and try and navigate to without being able to directly see it. So that's like a tricky way of using the game systems against you. And something that really stumped me, I didn't figure that out, and so I had to watch the video to solve that. Nasty fall. So, yeah, I think we're done. Hope you've enjoyed this look back at some forgotten isometric platformers, and yeah, check out Melchior's Mansion, check out Lumo. Check out Ukulele, which of course has that isometric section in it. Or just check out these classics. I've mentioned a lot of them today, but Night Law is probably a good place to start. Also, you're a werewolf in that, which is nice. Okay, so that's it for this stream. Thanks for joining me. And I'm not sure what I'm doing next time. I'll figure it out. But in a couple of days, there might be a bonus stream a few hours earlier than normal. Don't feel obliged to show up. But yeah, I think it's going to be me and Kathy playing Lego games again, which we like to do sometimes. Anyway, there'll be more rare content this time next week. So I hope to see you then, and farewell. Ants. I have to quit this to get my mouse control back so I can actually press the button in OBS to tell it to stop. Okay, bye!